Today's video, we are going to tie a damselfly marabou, just a little nymph. We're going to start with a size 12 streamer hook, put it in our vise. First thing I always do is I always put some super glue and rub it on my hook before I do my thread wrap. I'm going to skip that part today so I don't have sticky fingers because I'm not going to sit and watch the glue dry while we're on tape. So I'm going to take my thread after I built a glue base, and I'm going to come forward and go all the way backwards and forward again. Once I get it forward, I'm going to cut the tag end off. And the second material that we're going to use next to our thread and our hook is a set of eyes. Now you can take and get some monofilament and heat it up and make mono eyes. But what I have is some little plastic bead chain, and it's super small. I'm going to tie that in, leaving just a little bit of a gap in between the eye of the hook and the bead eyes. So I'm going to tie that in, go in both directions several times, and then I'm going to bring my thread over the hook and under the bead, over the hook, under the bead. And I'm going to just make circles around that hook, or around that bead eye, under it, and then over the hook. Once I've done that a few times, I'm going to just make a few more wraps in both directions. Once I get there, I'm going to bring my thread back to my starting point. I'm going to take some marabou. Once I get my marabou cut to how I want it, I dropped my wire. Sorry about that. Having to move things around. Okay. Once I get my marabou, I am going to take and I'm going to pull some really long fibers. So I'm going to take the side of my marabou and I'm going to pull like a finger's width out of it. I'm going to squeeze it together and kind of hold it as one. I want the marabou to have a tail for the back of my fly that is about the size of the hook, not much longer. So I'm going to take that little piece that's the size of the hook, and I'm going to do 2 wraps, and nice and loose, and I'm going to tighten them up and put a few wraps in. Once I have that, that is my tail. So from this point, I'm going to take my copper wire, which is just a fine copper wire, and I'm going to push that marabou back. I'm going to tie my copper wire in place right behind the bead eyes. And I'm going to tie that copper wire piece of marabou stuck in there. I'm going to take that copper wire and I'm going to tie it all the way back to the base and then bring my thread to the bead eyes. So once I have that done, I'm going to take my marabou, making sure my tail is separate, and I'm going to spin my marabou. I am going to go away from me with my marabou, making pretty even wraps up to my eye. I'm going to bring my marabou through the top of my eye, and I'm going to go one way, and I'm going to go the other way, crisscrossing, locking that marabou down in place. So all I've done is went through the eye both ways. So I took my marabou and I went away from me with my marabou. I want to go the opposite way with my wire so it counter overs the top of the marabou, holding it in place so it doesn't fall apart. So I'm going to take and make several wraps around that with my copper wire. And it builds color, but it also builds strength. I'm going to bring that right through the top of my eye. Again, crisscross over my eye in both directions. Once I have that done, I'm going to cut my wire with the back of my scissors. Okay, so now I have the body done. So I'm going to pull some thread and we're going to make some marabou dubbing. Marabou is a very easy material to dub with. So what I'm going to do is we're going to spin some marabou on to our thread. And it doesn't have to get all willy-nilly. We want a good base of dubbing, but it doesn't have to be completely crazy. So once you get that tied in pretty good, we are going to go around right behind the head of the fly, and then we're going to go up into the bead and then over. And I have got plenty of dubbing there. So I'm going to pick my stragglers out, wrap that all in. Then I'm going to come to the front of the eye, and I'm going to, of the eyes, in between the eyes and the eye of the hook. And I'm going to make an actual thread head. I'm going to tie that in nice and good, make a decent tapered head. When I get that done, I'm going to whip finish it. I always whip finish twice. I'm going to cut, oh crap. I'm going to cut my thread. And then my dubbing kind of spiraled out just a little bit. So I'm going to take and I'm going to cut them dubbing pieces out. And there you have a marabou damselfly nymph. Put a little head cement on that. Now you can take and run a scud back over the top of it. You can add some legs to it. You can do all kinds of stuff to it. But this is a very basic marabou damsel nymph that you can do with very minimal materials. And this thing is very effective. Make it in several sizes. I make mine in a green, a brown, an olive, some shades of like grays. And if you do that, you know, just watch what your hatch is and make it to match, and you guys will have a heck of a little nymph pattern if you're in an area that has damselflies or dragonflies. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps, and this is a super effective fly that's super easy to tie with very little materials. So thank you guys for watching.